Okay, so when I'm talking about fish health, I'm not talking about infection here. So with infection, you need to do something about it, and simply improving the fish's general health isn't really going to do anything to solve infection. So if you do have an infection in your tank, make sure you check out our other videos on diagnosing disease and on quarantine. So what we're looking at here is trying to get the best colour and growth out of your fish. Now for the vast majority of fish, you want to be feeding 2 to 4 times a day. The more feeds you can do, the better the growth is going to be, and the more similar to the natural diet is going to be. So if you're there all day evening, you can space the feeds out into 2 or 3 feeds, and that will really help pile the weight and the colour on those fish. Now how much should you feed? You'll often hear people say feed as much as they can eat in 5 minutes. Now when they say that, what they mean is they mean 5 minutes. If you put the food in, it's all gone in 30 seconds, you haven't put enough food in. You'll often see people complaining of things like chromis or tangs stealing all the food very quickly. If that is the case, then you're not putting anywhere near the amount of food in. Consider this, that say a 4 to 5 inch tank could easily eat 1 to 2 cubes of frozen a day entirely on its own. You can use things like slow release foods like cockle in the shell, where the shell will hold the food in place and the fish can leave food all day, or you can use like dried seaweed and you can put it in a clip. If you're doing that, it's important that you put enough in the morning so that by the evening there's still a tiny scrap left, so they're for all day long. It's no good putting it in, it's all gone in 10 minutes or an hour, because you've defeated the point of using seaweed. As well as that, you can also use automatic feeders. You can make all sorts of jerry-rigged ones to feed live food throughout the day. There's no commercial ones available for doing that really, or for feeding frozen. If you can get the fish onto flake or pellet, you can use an automatic feeder and feed up to 6 feeds a day of flake and pellet, but still make sure that you feed at least twice a day with frozen, unless you've got large predatory fish such as lionfish and groupers. The vast majority of reef fish will feed all day long, and that is what you want to try and replicate. Also look at the diet you're feeding. I would say for the vast majority of reef fish, 50% of their diet wants to be either marine mix or mysis based. This will give the best nutrition and range of nutrients to the fish that is possible. The remainder of the food wants to be spread over as vast a diversity of food as possible, but make sure that the fish that are very big or that have teeth need wearing down are given something more meaty, such as krill, to grind those teeth down on or to fill their big stomachs. If you're feeding fish with very small mouths, such as mandarins or pipefish, ensure the food is very tiny. A cleaner rasp might be able to pull apart little bits of brine shrimp and mysis, but it's not really going to get enough nutrition that way. So I'd recommend feeding cyclops or rotifers or copepods every day, first thing in the morning, to really get the weight on those fish. You can use standard aquarium foods, or you can use food enrichments or things such as Ocean Nutrition Super Shrimp, or for specialist feeders you can use things like Angel Elixir or Specialist Angel frozen foods. This will give really good vitality on the fish. As well as that, ensure that the fish have plenty of flow. Coral reefs have extreme amounts of flow. Providing plenty of flow will keep the fish fit and healthy and make sure they get plenty of exercise. Also ensure that the tank is long enough, wide enough and deep enough for the species concerned. Minimum tank sizes for species are there for a reason. Without the proper space, the mussels will often grow weak or misshapen, and the fish will become ill or just end up misshapen or stunted as an adult. Give the fish plenty of space, plenty of flow, and a really good diet. Last thing you want to look at is lighting. Now the fish aren't too critical on lighting, but they will want at least 8 hours of absolute darkness, or darkness with a very small tiny moonlight on the tank. Most hobbyists will run up to 8 hours on white lights, up to an additional 8 hours on blue lights, but make sure that you do have at least those 8 hours of darkness. You can stagger the lights a little bit, so they can come on at midday, saying you can keep them on till midnight, but make sure if it's in a room where it's getting sunlight in the summer and the sun is coming up at 4 AM, they may not be getting enough rest time at night. Also ensure there's enough caves and places for fish to hide overnight so they can get proper rest. And if you have a lot of territorial fish, make sure there's more caves than fish so they're not all bickering over the best spots. And as the fish grow, you may need to tweak the scape a little bit so that there's larger caves for the larger fish. Ensuring the fish get plenty of food, plenty of rest and plenty of flow and exercise will ensure that the fish grow quickly, healthily and have more vibrant colours than you get otherwise. Make sure you check out our other videos in our Ask James series.